Grizzlies All-Star Ja Morant is single-handedly ruining his career. The 23-year-old is once again in trouble with the league, and this time it's looking serious. Ja is without a doubt one of the most exciting players in the NBA today, and his growth and development as a player has come hand in hand with the team's own success, with Memphis winning their first ever division title just this year. But after a video surfaced of the hooper flaunting a pistol on Instagram Live, the league quickly took action. A remorseful Ja faced his punishment, apologized to the league, and vowed never to let something like that happen again, until he got caught doing the same thing 2 months later. And this isn't the only time Ja's found himself in hot water, from assaulting a 17-year-old, threatening a bunch of high schoolers, and intimidating other NBA players. The 6'2" guard just can't stay out of trouble. To make matters worse, Ja Morant's behavior is making him lose out on a max contract extension, respect, and possibly a championship. So let's take a look at how Ja Morant put his whole career in jeopardy. What you've got to understand is that Ja didn't come into the league this way. The South Carolina native made his way to the NBA through hard work and determination. He had a solid high school career, averaging 36 points in his senior year, but was under-recruited by college programs. He eventually decided on Murray State University, where he was a standout star, leading them to an NCAA tournament berth in his freshman year. As a sophomore, he would average 24.5 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, and led the league in assists, finishing second in the voting for that year's Naismith Trophy. Because of his outstanding performance that year, Ja decided to declare for the 2019 NBA Draft. He was selected second overall by the Memphis Grizzlies and quickly became an integral part of the team, running offenses and dunking on anyone who was brave enough to stand in his way. But while Ja was putting on a show night after night, it was his off-court decision-making that would prove to need a little work. The once hard-working kid from South Carolina was beginning to engage in behavior that was not typical of an NBA player, let alone an All-Star. The first of these incidents came in the summer of 2022. Ja was accused of punching a 17-year-old 12 to 13 times after a disagreement during a pickup game at his house. According to the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Morant then went into his home and came back with a gun in his waistband. Morant claimed self-defense, admitting to police that he had in fact swung first, but only after the 17-year-old threw a ball at his head and stepped towards him. Morant also claimed the teenager had made threats against Ja and his family, stating, "I'm gonna come back and light this place up like fireworks." The boy and his mother filed a lawsuit against Morant, which is currently ongoing, but the threat of legal action wouldn't stop the All-Star from engaging in more destructive and violent behavior. Just a few days before the incident outside his home, Morant had been involved in a violent encounter, this time with a mall security guard in Memphis. It all started when Ja's mom got into a disagreement with a store employee at the mall. After some words were exchanged, she called her son, who showed up with a large group of guys. Mall security told them to leave, and after they refused, things got ugly. The head of security told police he was being threatened by Morant and his crew, who shoved him and verbally abused him in the parking lot. Ja was even reported to have said, "Let me find out what time he gets off," which prompted the security guard to involve the police, fearing for his safety. And it doesn't stop here. Literally just a few months later, Ja again was being investigated for threats, violence, and intimidation, this time to a bunch of high schoolers at a volleyball game. Ja, alongside his family and a group of adult men, were investigated for assault after he was accused of confronting a high schooler who had called his sister quote-unquote derogatory names during a volleyball game. "That's my baby sister. I received a call and was checking on her for safety," Ja told ESPN's Jalen Rose. He claims that after he knew his sister was safe, he left the school and blamed the outrage on his celebrity status. "I realized once I showed up, that's all everyone needed to paint whatever picture they wanted." Ja again escaped any charges, but onlookers wouldn't have to wait long before he found himself in trouble again. The point guard had so far managed to keep his off-court antics separate from his professional life. But in January of 2023, it would spill over into an incident that took place midway through the season in his home arena. Following an intense game against the Pacers, friends of Ja were reported to have aggressively confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the team bus. This came after tensions boiled over on the court with longtime friend of Morant, Devontae Pack. He had to be removed from the floor following a third-quarter altercation between himself and multiple Pacers players. The NBA would eventually get involved after it was reported that a slow-moving SUV with Morant inside had pulled up alongside the team bus and pointed a red laser at some of the Pacers players. Investigators quickly concluded that while an altercation did break out between members of the Pacers traveling party and Ja's associates, they could not confirm that anyone had actually been threatened by a weapon. Ja wouldn't walk away completely unscathed though, as his longtime friend was banned from attending any games at the FedEx Forum for at least a year. You'd think that after being investigated by the league for threatening players with a firearm, the Memphis franchise player would smarten up and focus on his game. After all, the Grizzlies were second in their division and a championship run was looking more likely by the day. But, as you're probably all too familiar with by now, we didn't get a drama-free, playoff-ready Ja. We instead got the infamous nightclub video. Ja managed to get himself suspended for 8 games after he went live in a Colorado nightclub, flashing a pistol to the camera. He apologized for his behavior and vowed to take some time away to get help, a decision the league supported, and fans hoped Ja's return would signal a new chapter in the young Hooper's life. Not only had the All-Star guard's action cost him valuable playing time, they also cost him millions in unearned bonuses. Because of his suspension, Ja lost out on being selected for the All-NBA team, despite being a top 15 player that season. Making this prestigious roster would have netted the point guard a substantial $39 million in bonuses. And it wasn't just Ja's bank account that took a hit. Chemistry within the Grizzlies seemed off as the team went into the playoffs. Once considered serious title contenders, Memphis got eliminated in the first round by the 7th-seeded Lakers. Winning the division would certainly have netted the franchise a winning bonus, as well as a chance of competing for the title. But instead, Ja and the rest of the Grizzlies had to pack their bags and watch from home. In the wake of their first-round defeat, Morant showed signs of growth, telling reporters he needed to be more disciplined. "I've just got to be better with my decision-making. That's pretty much it. Off-the-court issues affected us as an organization," leaving fans hopeful for a new and improved Morant next season. But that hope quickly died less than a month later when Ja was filmed by his friend Devontae Pack holding a pistol in a car. The Grizzlies quickly took action, suspending the guard while the league reviewed the incident. It's currently unknown what exactly is going to happen to Ja, but the consequences have already begun to roll in. Morant's sneaker deal with Nike looks to be under threat as the retail giant removed all his shoes from appearing on their website. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has also said he's preparing for the worst, believing the league investigation will result in a big suspension to Morant in the 2023-24 season. While we wait for the league's verdict, it's worth understanding that his previous behavior is most definitely going to impact their decision. His career survived assaulting a kid, threatening a security guard, and flashing a gun on his Instagram Live to millions of followers. You gotta wonder, how many more chances are they gonna give this man?